Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. We have some of the awesome news coming from the front lines. Those happen rarely, but Ukraine started the counterattack. All of the links for original sources as usual I put in the video description right below, so here you can see that there are two of the flanks where Ukraine now counterattacks against the Russian army. And it is happening right in the Chasiv Yar, so this is the central part of the city, unfortunately before Russians went into it. And here in industrial part Ukraine counterattacks as well. Well, actually for a few of the recent weeks Russia didn't send huge reinforcements to this area. They didn't push too much in Chasiv Yar, so Ukraine probably used this time to gather their own resources for the strike. And we may also go to the 3D military map, so actually this area was taken by the Russian army here and Ukraine counterattacks there. And also Ukraine does it in the central part. As you can see, for Ukraine it's more harder because the elevation goes a little bit but up. Well, we don't have the recent update in this particular military map because it has some of the delay. This map usually got the updates from the Institute for the Study of War. Yes, they also monitor the situation in Ukraine, but we have more fresh information from Michael Centers 3 Analytic, as in this case, and also from the Deep State military map source. Well, maybe Ukraine still has enough reinforcements to cut some of those Russian attack vectors like they did over here and on the top, but there is the big question whether Ukraine will be able to push Russians completely behind this river. I think not for now. First of all, because Russia now has initiative on the front lines, they're gaining the most part of the ground, and those cases happen very rarely for Ukraine, but it shows, however, that the Ukrainian army is still pretty much capable. You know, I also monitor some of the Russian channels and pro-Russian bloggers, and they start to say that Ukraine is getting ready for the huge jump, maybe towards the Russian territory from the new side to Kursk Oblast to Bryansk Oblast. Some say also about Transnistria, that it might happen in the coming days. Well, everything might be because the Kursk operation was unexpected, but I think for Ukraine it is not a good move to split the forces elsewhere. It's better to concentrate on defending eastern side of Ukraine, because here resources are crucial. However, you know, our political and military command, they may know more, and maybe advancing to the Russian territory again will give Ukraine some of the joker card in the possible future negotiations. But I honestly have the big doubts about it, but the information about the planned Ukrainian counterattack is coming only from the Russian side for now. Our famous 47th Mechanized Brigade continue to fight in Kursk region. We have the video of how they stopped one of the Russian assaults there. Guys, this video I'll publish on my Telegram channel. 47th is one of the most capable Ukrainian brigades out there. But recently there were some of the stories uncovered about the command of the brigades, and you know, it is again some sort of the dark stuff. I want to avoid speaking on this channel, but you know, it's the known stuff there. But you know that the problem with the Ukrainian command and competence in general is well known. Somehow talented commanders and those who found, for example, this brigade, later on were just removed from the command and blamed for everything. So yeah, it's kind of the strange situation we have. Marcus explained all of the stuff in his video series. Those videos are in Ukrainian, but there he said that there were and are some of the issues. Well, also it's been reported that Ukraine imprisoned the first North Korean soldier in the Kursk region. We have just this photo. I put my own censorship for YouTube, but anyways, I'm waiting for the video with this prisoner of war from North Korean or Russian side. There were already some of the North Korean bodies uncovered. All of them were put as they were from Tiva with brand new military ID cards, but actually those were coming from North Korea, and if you take one North Korean alive, it will be the evidence of that. But we generally know that North Koreans take part in assault against the Ukrainian army in Kursk. It was confirmed not just by Ukraine, but also by American intelligence. Well, guys, you know, after all, the photo could be hoax, or the photo could be taken by the Russian soldier. Because here you can see the Z symbol, so probably Russians just evacuated this North Korean soldier who definitely was wounded. My friends, by the way, if you want to support the job that I do on YouTube, you may also join my Patreon. I'll put the link for my Patreon page right in the video description below. Thank you so much for it. About the Azerbaijani Airlines Embraer 190 plane crash, well, finally we start to receive reports that the airplane was shot down. Because for more than 24 hours from the big media corporations like BBC, CNN, we hear bullshit. Like general known facts, okay, the airplane crashed, blah blah blah, but no one was speaking about the real evidence that the airplane was just shrapnel. So in fact, it's already understandable that it was shot down. And here we have Azerbaijani media that confirms that Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash caused by the Russian air defense system. And Euronews also came out with an article about the airplane saying that it was shot down. They relied to Azerbaijani officials, and yes, it is understandable. I recorded a big video about it yesterday with my detailed explanation about the case. I published it on my pilot blog channel. It's 100% that this airplane was shot down, and I already said from what it was shot down. It was Panzer 1S air defense system. One of the Azerbaijani MPs, who is also the head of the Foreign Affairs Commission, confirmed that as well. So he said that it is known that the aircraft was shot down over Russia, so Russia should at least apologize, pay compensation for relatives and for the airline, and also jail those who did it, prosecute them. The investigation has already been started. Soon we're gonna receive the information from the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder of the airplane. Luckily, it crash landed on territory of Kazakhstan, not in Russia. Otherwise, we would not see those images of shrapnelled tail of Embraer. From what I know, Russia tried to access the black boxes of the airplane. They also tried to participate in the initial investigation, but for now they were rejected by the Kazakhstan side. Well, according to the regulations of the International Civil Aviation Organization, the head of investigation will be Kazakhstan, because the country on the territory of which crash happened leads the investigation. But obviously Azerbaijan will participate. It will play the leading role in an investigation as well, and Brazilian inspectors will also join this investigation. So we have pretty much big chance that officially Russia will be accused for shutting down this airplane. So it's the known fact, it is understandable, but official investigation is official investigation. And it's great that the Russian side was rejected for initial access to the flight data recorders or to the crash site. What Russians done that they've just evacuated their wounded passengers from Aktau to Russia. So Russia will try to politically push Kazakhstan, its neighbor, but there is other kind of the big force, Azerbaijan, with ally of Turkey. And something tells me that they gonna uncover the truth. And to understand the details of the crash, I highly recommend you to check out the Blanca Liria channel and John Brown, who does fantastic job reviewing aviation incidents and accidents around the world. From small events to huge ones, he is a well-known expert. So go there and do this, subscribe. And here he tells the details about the Azerbaijani airplane crash. By the way, he also watches my videos here, so John, thank you also for shouting out me on your channel. I was surprised, and it is a great honor for me. John has lots of the experience in aviation. He's the airline pilot as I used to be, so he knows the industry and aviation from inside out. And guys, just for you, compare the damages done to the tail of this aircraft and this one. This is the Russian Ilyushin-22 surveillance airplane, basically, which was hit by Ukrainian air defense, I guess, the last year. Yeah, it was hit by the bigger missile. That's why there are lots of the shrapnel holes, more than on Embraer. Well, miraculously, this airplane landed safely. Why? Because it has the direct mechanical linkage. It has just the hydraulic actuator for the rudder. That's it. But rudder also could be controlled with direct mechanical link too. Yes, it's much harder to press it in this case, but the airplane is fully controllable. That's the advantage of the old school airplanes. Even in this case, they're flyable, especially for the military. It's important. Alright, to the Kerch Bridge now. You probably know that Russia tries to defend this construction using some sort of the floating devices, some sort of the barges or ships even. They also constructed some sort of the line of the floating buoys. But because there was storm recently, apparently all of this construction just failed. Yeah, the situation looks like that now, and storm was exactly the one which sank Russian ships, oil tankers basically. And that caused the ecological disaster to this region, but Russia doesn't care in general. So some of those barges just sank to the bottom, some of them were replaced, disassembled, and so on. That's how the Russian defense works. Guys, we hear more and more, I call it informational noise, for example, about the peace talks around Ukraine. Well, I personally think that those talks over-exaggerating the situation. I think that the negotiations between Ukraine and Russia simply not possible. And you know who is confirming my words again? The Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. He stated that Russia will not be fooled by the useless negotiations, which could be used just for Ukraine to obtain more weaponry. So where is the profit for Russia in this case? So Russia sees not negotiations with Ukraine, no. They are looking for their so-called victory. It's their policy, that's why they started this war from the very beginning. They want to occupy Ukraine in one or another way. Well, the most profitable thing for Russia would be to put their puppet government in charge of Ukraine with no any war, because war requires enormous efforts from the Russian economy. But if they cannot do it without war, they will continue it, and Putin is determined to continue. They want Ukraine to be some sort of the Belarus, which is like one more oblast of Russia, but with own president and parliament, which just follows all of the Russian interests and votes for Russia in United Nations. So for Russia, they want to keep Ukraine maybe as other country, partially occupied, separate, but at the same time united towards the same union with Russia. It's some sort of the Soviet Union, but in new realities. And it seems for me that Donald Trump and his team do not understand that reality of Putin, how Putin thinks. The new White House administration still thinks that it's some sort of the local conflict which could be negotiated between Ukraine and Russia, so the war could be freezed, but in fact, no, it will not happen. It is simply unachievable thing with the current Russian regime. They are determined to continue, they will continue, and there is no any kind of the lever to act on Putin. Absolutely, it doesn't exist. You may say fuel prices and so on. No, it's some sort of the prospective damage for the Russian economy. Putin lives right here, right now, in his own informational bubble. So he gives the order for this war to continue, and he wants to achieve the result, which as he sees on the military map, as we also see that Russia has advantage, so why should he stop, right? And yet we have one more confession from one of the main Russian officials, that Russia is not ready to negotiate. And it's not that secret that it will never be ready with the current government they have. Yesterday's information about 2 cable cuts confirmed, and today there are 3 of the cables which are cut in the Baltic Sea. The possible suspect is the Russian Eagle-S oil tanker, which is the part of the Russian ghost tanker fleet. So the tanker there did some sort of the strange loop maneuver, and after that proceeded westbound. Well, maybe it was just a GPS track glitch, but nevertheless, it's better to investigate that. The Finnish Coast Guards already boarded the ship, and it was stopped for a while since they've started the investigation. We'll see if definitely the crew of Eagle-S tanker is responsible for those cable cuts. Right guys, and now let's go to the latest military map update. It's just arrived to the Deep State military map. Here Russia unfortunately expanded their bridgehead in Syria even more. I've told you like half a month ago that it is their main goal actually, and it was yesterday, it is today. They advanced in multiple directions and also near Kurahovo itself, so they're trying to bypass the settlement from the side, you may say it, and also they moved just a little bit in this district, occupying a couple of the households. If you check out the data from Micro Center 3 Analytic, here Russia definitely expands their bridgehead not far away from Pokrovsk direction, and also we have the confirmation that they moved southbound with losses of their vehicles, but they moved. The problem here that the Ukrainian defense line simply does not exist. What Ukrainian soldiers dig into the ground, like those handmade trenches, they have to defend themselves. So no engineering equipment was sent there to dig reliable trenches which you might hold for a very long time. The only one like that is over here pretty much far away from the actual front line. And in Krakow, yes, we have the confirmation that Russia moved, and still the part of the settlement is in a gray zone. So yeah, on the front lines, the situation is not that bright for Ukrainian side. We'll see how it goes for the next year. And whether the United States of America will keep the support of Ukraine, I think that they will keep it, but at minimum level. I read the news today that Trump wants to force Europe actually to produce more weapons for Ukraine. As exchange, Trump may not put extra tariffs or something like that. Trump's policy and his behavior is very extraordinary. It's interesting from one side, and it's kind of outrageous at the same time. I have never seen it in American high politics. So guy has absolute no breaks, but maybe it's just the part of his PR image, you know. For example, then he congratulates with Merry Christmas. He also says about Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada. And if Canada was to become 51st state of the United States, they would have cut of the taxes by 60%. How good it would be. Again, tells about Greenland and also Panama Canal, which is being controlled by the soldiers of China. Could it be the start of the special military operation performed by the United States in those lands? Well, honestly, I don't think so. People just speak about this topic, and Trump just pours more fuel into this fire of PR. He wants people to speak about him, to be in the top news all the time. That's the Trump style. He's a politician celebrity, let's say. So the next year will be very interesting and at the same time unpredicted. Nevertheless, guys, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation in Ukraine and not only. For now, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And as usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky, yeah. And what else? I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.